Welcome back to Hiking with Kathleen. So this morning I'm just visiting some of my favorite haunts, and I see what an effect the lack of rain has had on this particular area, as a lot of the wetland near the shore has dried up. But there are still some animals making their way around, so I invite you to join me today. Happy to have you along. I love being out here on these morning hikes. You never know what you might see. One thing's for sure, you'll see a beautiful sunrise. So I've been enjoying this gorgeous day and being able to see all kinds of critters out here. Lots and lots of green herons. So this pond area has obviously been very successful, with them having probably multiple pairs and broods and things like that. So anyway, that's been really exciting to see. As I said, I'm just coming back to some of my old haunts that I haven't been at for most of the summer. So I'm quite delighted that, and there's all kinds of things that I'm still seeing around here. So yeah, this is great. So this is a little bit of a marshland. It's in a very urban area. So there's lots of traffic sounds, which is kind of an ironic thing because this is so full of life. When I first arrived here, a beaver was swimming away from me. I wasn't able to video it because what did it do? It went underwater and then retreated. So anyway, I hope you've been enjoying some of the images that I have for you now. Yeah, that was the sandpiper that just flew in, saw me and decided to land elsewhere. But anyway, I'm glad you're here with me. It's really neat out here. The water levels are really low. I wouldn't normally have this kind of access to the creek, but it's pretty cool because you can be right down here where, you know, animals have been traveling. It also makes it easier for the deer to cross over, and sometimes they have to do that when they're trying to escape from their predators or dogs off leash. They run across the rocks. Now that they're exposed, they can do that. When the water's a little deeper, yeah, they can get across, but they can't choose their footsteps quite as easily. So they're a little bit more reluctant to do it when the creek is high and fast flowing. Mm-hmm. So I'm out here on another morning, and I'm here to explore I guess, ongoing signs of water deprivation out in the forest. And we're almost on the doorstep of what could be a pop-up thunderstorm. So if that happens, that would be a good thing. This area does need rainwater, and you know, we're still seeing signs how, you know, animals are adapting to the lower water levels that in some cases traditionally happen late August, which is the time of this hike. But it also can really stress out the plants, and farmers' fields are one example, but also trees. A lot of people don't realize that when we go through a dry spell, it's really helpful to the trees, like even on our front lawns and that, to give them some water. So it helps them get through that period where the water table drops and the roots can't provide the water to the tree system the way, you know, the roots just can't reach it. So anyway, so we're going to continue to look for interesting wildlife. I'll keep an eye on that storm and we'll see what other signs of water stress we might find. This is the time of summer when goldenrod is becoming more prevalent. It's a late summer, early fall type of plant. It also is the time of year you get to see ragweed. Now, ragweed is a plant that some people with allergies to pollen will have an allergic response. But because goldenrod is a more showy plant, people mistakenly think they're allergic to goldenrod. So, and often they live in the same area. So it's just to raise your awareness that it's oftentimes that if you're allergic, it's to ragweed and not goldenrod. Goldenrod is a beautiful, benign kind of plant that is pretty at this time of year. Yeah, this is another example of a marsh that is really depleted in its water supply. Normally, the kind of plant that we have that grows around marshland is the cattail. But this intrusive species that's called purple loosestrife, which is a beautiful plant, but grows very densely along the water's edge, takes advantage of the time when it doesn't have a lot of competition with cattails. Purple loosestrife is an escapee. People have had it in their gardens, and so it has a tall stalk that has flowers that bear many, many seeds, and so it's a very, very successful plant, as most weeds are. The problem is it grows so densely, it makes it difficult for wildlife to move freely between the plants and into the water to where there's safety if they're trying to escape predators. It's a busy place out here. You can hear the blue jays, heard the gray tree frogs from just across the river, belted kingfishers. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that are active at this time of year. Oh my goodness. Here's a little toadlet. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to show you. Oh dear. Unless, of course, it found a great hiding spot. Yeah, it did. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of neat to see these things up close, but you have to be very careful if you pick up an amphibian that you don't have things like bug spray or any other chemical on your hands, because although they have lungs and can respire through their lungs, they also respire through their skin, which means they can absorb toxins very easily. So a polluted body of water does not typically have amphibians in them because they will die at the hands of the chemicals. So if you see amphibians in a body of water, that's sort of like a canary in a coal mine. It gives rise to thinking that at least it's a fairly clean body of water. So that's kind of a neat thing to know. So in today's video, we were able to have a look at the waning water levels that can typically happen by late summer, late August. And sometimes it can be exacerbated by the global warming effects. I know we're seeing a lot of climate trends that are not normal. Certain areas of the world are facing huge flooding issues, while others are facing drought-like conditions. And that's making it very difficult because they also can create the right circumstance for lightning strikes to ignite a wildfire, because there's no moisture to help tamp that down. So anyway, we're in a changing world for sure. When I grew up, I knew that we would have 2 weeks of 30 degrees Celsius weather, and that would be sometime in mid-July. Now it's almost the entire summer, sometimes even starting at the end of June, right through the end of August now, as we see. I recall earlier in the summer, I was looking at our security cameras at home when we were out in Newfoundland with maybe 18 to 20 degree weather. Sometimes it hit higher temperatures there too. But watching our lawn get brown and with every passing day, so it got browner and browner. So I realized there was a temperature and dry spell going on that was taking place at home. So anyway, it meant we didn't have to worry about the lawn looking too shabby by the time we got home, because it really hadn't grown much. So lack of water can be very stressful for animals that are existing in the wild, as well as our own pets. So it just makes me aware that, you know, if you can give a helping hand to a tree that you have on your property by giving it some water during these particularly dry spells, it helps to avoid that early or premature color change like we saw in the leaves of the tree just down the river. So anyway, I thank you for your time. I'm glad you joined me on today's Hiking with Kathleen. In the not too distant future, Shannon and I are going to strike off to Wheatley Provincial Park. We fit in another camping trip, and we welcome you to join us to that one. So stay tuned. Every Tuesday, there's a new upload. If you like the videos, please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking like. The reason that's such an important thing is it helps the YouTube algorithm know that people are enjoying this content, and then they will find other like-minded people who are interacting with the video in order to share it with them. So I appreciate your help. Take care. See you next time. Bye for now.